Subscribe to Infidelity Tales Lab for more stories. Now let's begin this one. Chapter 1. Second Chances. Elliot Roman had learned to live with disappointment. At 36, the former crisis negotiator turned corporate consultant had weathered enough storms to know that life rarely delivered what you expected. But the look on his wife Autumn's face as they sat in the adoption agency waiting room was something different. Hope mixed with terror, a cocktail he knew all too well. Mr. and Mrs. Roman? Violet Rich, the social worker, appeared in the doorway. Her smile was professional but warm. She's ready to meet you. 6 years. That's how long they'd been trying. 3 rounds of IVF, 2 miscarriages, and a small fortune that had evaporated like morning fog. Elliot had wanted to adopt years ago, but Autumn had clung to the hope of biological children until last winter, when her doctor had finally said the words that ended the debate. "I'm sorry, but your body can't sustain a pregnancy." The girl sat in a plastic chair, her legs swinging several inches above the floor. She was 4 years old according to the file, though she seemed smaller, more fragile. Dark hair framed a face that was eerily calm for a child who'd been bounced between 3 foster homes in 18 months. "This is Lily," Violet said softly. "Lily, these are the people I told you about." Elliot crouched down to the girl's eye level, something he'd learned during his negotiator days. Never tower over someone vulnerable. "Hi, Lily. I'm Elliot. You can call me Elle if you want. This is Autumn." The girl studied him with eyes that seemed older than they should be. "Do you have a dog?" "Not yet," Elliot said. "But we could get one. Do you like dogs?" "I like German Shepherds. They're smart and loyal." Autumn laughed, a sound Elliot hadn't heard enough of lately. "That's very specific for someone your age." Over the next 2 hours, they played with building blocks and read picture books. Lily was quiet but observant, watching their every move with an intensity that made Elliot's negotiator instincts prickle. This wasn't typical childhood wariness. This was assessment. In the car afterward, Autumn was radiant. "She's perfect, Elle. Did you see how she's evaluating us?" Elliot interrupted gently. "That kid has been through something. The way she positions herself with her back to the wall, how she tracks everyone in the room. That's not normal. Of course she's cautious. She's been abandoned multiple times. It's more than that." Elliot merged onto the highway, his mind working through the observations. "Her vocabulary is advanced. The way she plays, it's methodical, strategic. And did you notice her arms? What about them? Bruises. Faded, but there. And what looked like needle marks." Autumn's face paled. "You think someone hurt her?" "I think someone's been doing something to her. Medical tests, maybe." The file said she was found abandoned at a hospital in Maryland. No records, no family. "That's odd, Autumn. A 4-year-old doesn't just appear out of nowhere." "So what are you saying? We shouldn't adopt her?" Elliot reached over and squeezed her hand. "I'm saying we adopt her and we protect her. Whatever she's been through, it ends now. But we need to be prepared. Her past might not stay buried." 3 weeks later, they brought Lily home to their suburban house in Northern Virginia. Elliot had converted the guest room into a space fit for a princess, complete with bookshelves and a small table for art projects. Lily stood in the doorway, taking it all in. "This is mine," she asked. "All yours," Autumn said, kneeling beside her. "You can decorate it however you want." That night, after tucking Lily in, Elliot found his old case files from his negotiator days. He couldn't shake the feeling that Lily's story didn't add up. The adoption had gone through unusually fast. Only 6 weeks from application to approval, when most took 6 months or more. Violet had seemed eager to place Lily, almost relieved. He opened his laptop and started searching. Abandoned children, Maryland hospitals, 2024. The results were sparse. He expanded his search. Missing children, unidentified minors, Jane Does. Nothing matched. "Come to bed," Autumn called from upstairs. "You're obsessing." Maybe he was. But Elliot's instincts had kept him alive through 12 years of talking down armed suspects, domestic terrorists, and corporate hostage takers. And those same instincts were screaming that Lily's arrival in their lives was the beginning of something, not the end. He just didn't know what yet. Chapter 2, Fragments. The first week with Lily was a study in contradictions. She was affectionate but distant, playful but controlled. Elliot watched her navigate their home like a tactician mapping terrain, memorizing exits, noting patterns in their routines. She's adjusting. Autumn insisted over breakfast on day 8. Lily sat at the table, methodically cutting her pancake into perfect squares. The therapist said it takes time for adopted children to feel safe. Elliot nodded, but his attention was on their daughter. Lily, where'd you learn to use a knife so well? The girl froze for a fraction of a second. Attell, his negotiator brain noted. Mrs. Patterson taught me. My second foster mom. That's good. Most kids your age still use their hands. He kept his tone light, conversational. That afternoon, while Autumn was at yoga, Elliot decided to test a theory. He set up an obstacle course in the backyard. Nothing elaborate, just some boxes to climb, a jump rope to hop through, a balance beam made from a 2x4. Want to play a game? He asked Lily. Her eyes lit up. Genuine excitement, the first he'd seen. What kind? Time trial. I'll time you going through the course, and we'll see if you can beat your own record. Lily approached the course with laser focus. She moved through it with fluid precision, over the boxes, through the rope pattern without a single misstep, across the beam without hesitation. Her time, 43 seconds. That was amazing, Elliot said. Want to try again? Second attempt, 39 seconds. She'd optimized her route. Lily, who taught you to move like that? The shutters came down behind her eyes. I don't remember. Can I go inside? That night, Elliot called Harris Olson, his former colleague from his negotiator days. Harris had left law enforcement to become an investigative journalist, specializing in stories the mainstream media wouldn't touch. Hell, it's been 2 years. To what do I owe the pleasure? I need you to look into something. Quietly, Elliot explained Lily's situation, the mysterious origins, the advanced skills, the too-fast adoption. Harris was silent for a moment. You think she's part of something organized? I think someone trained her. A 4-year-old doesn't have that kind of body awareness naturally, and the adoption system doesn't move that fast without pressure from above. I'll dig around. Send me everything you have, dates, locations, the agency's name. Give me a week. 3 days later, things escalated. Elliot was working from home when he heard Lily scream. Not a child's frightened cry, but something primal, defensive. He bolted to the living room to find her backed against the wall, a broken lamp at her feet, facing the mailman who'd knocked on the door. I didn't mean to scare her, the mailman stammered. I just needed a signature. It's fine. Thank you. Elliot signed for the package and closed the door. Lily was shaking, her small fists clenched. Hey, it's okay. He's gone. He was watching, she whispered. Through the window. Before he knocked. Watching. Elliot's blood chilled. He went to the window and studied the street. The mailman was 2 houses down, continuing his route. Normal. Except Lily was right. Why would he watch through the window before knocking? Lily, has anyone else been watching the house? She nodded slowly. The silver car. It was here yesterday, and the day before. Different people, but same car. Elliot grabbed his phone and pulled up their home security footage. Sure enough, a silver sedan had parked across the street 3 times in the past week, never for more than 10 minutes. Different drivers each time, or at least different people in the driver's seat. He called Harris. We've got surveillance. Professional, rotating drivers. Jesus, Cell. I haven't even started digging, and you've already got watchers? This is bigger than adoption fraud. I'm coming over tonight. Don't let Autumn or the kid out of your sight. When Autumn got home from her book club, Elliot met her at the door. We need to talk. Privately. In their bedroom. He showed her the footage. Her face went white. Who are they? That's what we're going to find out. Harris is coming over after Lily's in bed. But Autumn, I need you to trust me. Whatever this is, we're not giving her back. She's ours now, and we protect our own. Autumn's jaw set with determination. Damn right we do. At 9 p.m., Harris arrived with a laptop and a grim expression. I made some calls to old contacts. Elliot, the adoption agency that placed Lily? It's a shell. Registered 2 years ago, minimal footprint, but connected to a DoD contractor called Meridian Solutions. Defense Department? Elliot's mind raced. Why would a military contractor be running adoptions? They're not. They're running something else, and the adoption agency is a front. I found 3 other cases in the past 18 months. Children placed through the same agency, all between 3 and 5 years old, all with similar backgrounds. Abandoned, no records, rapid placement. Where are those children now? Harris's expression darkened. 2 disappeared from their adoptive homes within 6 months. The third family died in a house fire. The child survived and was rehomed. The room went cold. They're taking them back, Elliot said quietly. Whatever program Lily came from, they're not done with her. Chapter 3. The Mark. Autumn insisted on normal routines despite the revelation. She needs stability, she argued. We can't let her see us scared. But Elliot was past scared. He'd moved into strategic mode, the same headspace that had kept him alive during a 16-hour standoff with militia members in Montana. He installed additional cameras, reinforced the locks, and started varying their schedules. On day 12, Lily had her first real nightmare. Elliot woke to screaming at 2 a.m. He reached Lily's room seconds before Autumn, finding their daughter thrashing in bed, her eyes open but unseeing. The blue room, she gasped. I don't want to go back to the blue room. Lily, wake up. You're safe. You're home. Elliot gently shook her shoulders. Her eyes focused, filling with tears. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll be good. You are good. You didn't do anything wrong. Autumn climbed into bed beside her, holding her close. Was it just a dream? I can't remember. But the blue room is bad. The blue room hurts. Elliot and Autumn exchanged looks over Lily's head. Whatever she'd been through, it was clawing its way to the surface. The breakthrough came 2 days later during bath time. Autumn was helping Lily wash her hair when she noticed something she'd missed before. A small mark behind Lily's left ear, barely visible through the wet hair. At first, she thought it was a birthmark. Then she looked closer. Get in here. Now. Elliot dropped the laundry basket and sprinted to the bathroom. What's wrong? Autumn's hand trembled as she pointed to Lily's ear. We have to call the military. Elliot knelt beside the tub, gently tilting Lily's head. There, tattooed in tiny characters barely larger than a grain of rice, was an alphanumeric code, SP 1847X. What is that? Autumn whispered. Lily's small voice answered. My number. All of us have numbers. All of who? Elliot kept his voice calm despite the rage building in his chest. The other kids. In the blue room. They gave us numbers so we wouldn't forget who we belonged to. Elliot's hands shook as he took photos of the tattoo with his phone. Lily, I need you to be very brave. Can you tell me about the blue room? It's where we train, and where they give us the medicine that makes us sleep. Dr. Myers says we're special. We're going to help protect the country. How many other kids, Lily? Lots. Maybe 20? Some are older. They teach the younger ones. Autumn's face had gone pale. This is like something out of a movie. The military doesn't do this. They can't. The military doesn't. But contractors operating in gray zones? With enough classified clearance and DoD funding. Elliot stood, his jaw tight. They absolutely can. Harris was right. Meridian Solutions isn't just a contractor. They're running a black ops program using children. He called Harris immediately. I'm sending you a photo. We found a tattoo. Identification number. Harris's response was instant. Holy shit. That's a sub-project designation. SP probably stand for Shadow Protocol. This is classified level work, L. If they tattooed kids, they're planning long-term asset development. Asset development? They're children. Not to them. To them, they're malleable operatives who can be trained from age 3 or 4. Perfect recall, no moral compass yet, complete loyalty to their handlers. Jesus, this is cultural-level evil. Elliot forced himself to think tactically. They're coming for her, aren't they? The surveillance, the watchings, they're planning extraction. Probably. But here's what doesn't make sense. Why did they let her go in the first place? These programs don't just lose assets. Lily's small voice cut through the conversation. I escaped. Both adults turned to stare at her. She sat in the tub, water dripping from her hair, looking far too old for 4 years. What? Autumn breathed. I escaped. Dr. Myers was angry at another kid, and the door lock was broken. I ran. I ran for a long time until I found the hospital. I knew if I told people about the blue room, they wouldn't believe me. So I didn't say anything. Elliot crouched beside the tub again, taking Lily's small hand. You were very smart and very brave. But Lily, I need to know, are they looking for you specifically, or are they always looking for kids who escape? Both. But mostly me. Why mostly you? Her voice dropped to a whisper. Because I'm Dr. Myers' favorite. He says I'm the best one, the fastest learner. He wants me back. Elliot felt something cold and hard crystallize in his chest. He'd spent years negotiating with monsters, terrorists, murderers, kidnappers. He knew how they thought, how they operated, and he knew that the only language they truly understood was consequences. Autumn, take Lily and get her dried off and in bed. Harris, I need everything you can find on Christopher Myers and Meridian Solutions. Every connection, every facility, every shadow account. And I need it yesterday. Oh, what are you planning? These people think they can hunt children like assets. They think they're untouchable because they operate in classified darkness. They're about to learn they're wrong. He looked at Lily, meeting her two old eyes. No one is taking you anywhere. You're my daughter now, and I protect what's mine. After Autumn put Lily to bed, she found Elliot in his office, surrounded by papers and computer screens. Oh, we should go to the FBI? Or the news. Or, the FBI has jurisdiction issues with classified programs. The news won't run it without proof we can't safely obtain. And if we make noise, they'll accelerate their timeline. He pulled her close. I've been on the other side of negotiations with desperate people. I know how organizations like this respond to threats. We can't fight them publicly. We have to be smarter. So what do? We make them come to us. On our terms. In our trap. He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. I didn't spend 12 years talking down killers without learning how they think. These people believe they're predators. Time to teach them their prey. Chapter 4. Known Enemies. Harris arrived at dawn with a thick folder and dark circles under his eyes. I didn't sleep. What I found? Oh, this goes deep. They spread the documents across the dining room table. Meridian Solutions was registered in Delaware, headquartered in a business park in Bethesda, Maryland. On paper, they provided advanced training solutions and human performance optimization for the Department of Defense. Translation, they experiment on people, Harris said grimly. The Shadow Protocol is buried in subparagraph funding under a counterterrorism initiative that's been running since 2018. Budget allocation, $27 million annually. For what exactly? Development of juvenile assets for deep cover operations. The theory is that children can be placed in positions adults can't access. Diplomats' families, enemy households, corporate environments. They're training kids to be spies, long-term sleeper agents. Autumn appeared in the doorway, having heard everything. That's insane. Even if it worked, the ethics don't matter to them. Christopher Myers is the program director. Former Army intelligence, dishonorably discharged in 2015 for unauthorized interrogation methods. Apparently, he found a second act in the private sector. Harris pulled up a photo. A man in his 50s, steel gray hair, cold eyes. He's a true believer. Thinks the ends justify any means. Who else? His second in command is Dale Montez, former CPS supervisor who got fired for falsifying records. She runs the acquisition side, identifying vulnerable kids in the foster system, creating the paper trails for extraction. She's the one who would have processed Lily's abandonment and subsequent adoption placement. Elliot studied Dale's photo, a woman in her 40s with sharp features and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. So Myers runs the program, Dale supplies the children. Who else is in the chain? Security is contracted through a firm called Shadowbox LLC. Basically mercenaries with government clearances. The surveillance on your house is probably them. And there's one more player, Senator Lemuel Cannon. He sits on the Armed Services Committee and has protected Meridian's funding through 4 budget cycles. His son works for the company. Corruption all the way up. Elliot's mind was already working through scenarios. They can't move openly against us without risking exposure, but they can't let Lily stay missing either. She's evidence. What's the play? Information warfare. We make them think we're going to expose them, force them to make mistakes. But we control the narrative. Elliot turned to Autumn. How much do you trust Violet Rich? The social worker? I don't know. She pushed our adoption through fast. Exactly. Harris, can you run a background on her? I want to know if she's part of this or just a useful idiot. 2 hours later, they had their answer. Violet Rich had received payments from Meridian Shell Company, small amounts, $500 here, $1,000 there, disguised as consultation fees. She's in it, Harris confirmed. But she's small fish. Probably doesn't even know the full scope. Elliot made a decision. We're going to flip her. Autumn, call Violet. Tell her Lily's been having nightmares, and we need guidance. Set up a home visit for tomorrow. And then what? Then we show her what she helped create. And we give her a choice, help us or go down with the program. The next afternoon, Violet Rich sat in their living room, her professional smile faltering as Elliot laid out the evidence, the photos of the tattoo, Harris's research, the surveillance footage. This has to be a mistake, Violet stammered. I just place children with families. I don't. You took money from Meridian Solutions, Elliot said quietly. You fast-tracked Lily's adoption without proper vetting. You're part of this, Violet. The question is, how deep? Tears streamed down her face. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know what they were doing. A woman named Dale contacted me 2 years ago, said she worked for a government contractor that needed help placing children from sensitive situations. She paid me to expedite paperwork, said it was national security. I thought I was helping. How many children, Violet? 8. Over 2 years. Lily was the 7th. What happened to the others? Most were reclaimed within months. The families were told the adoptions were invalidated due to paperwork errors. But 2 families refused to give the children back. One died in a fire. The parents were arrested for child endangerment based on anonymous tips. The children went back into the system. Elliot exchanged glances with Harris. Dale Montez set them up. I realized something was wrong after the fire, Violet continued. I tried to stop cooperating, but Dale said if I talked, she'd destroy my career and implicate me in fraud. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Autumn's voice was ice. Those families trusted you. I know, and I have to live with that. But please, I can help now. What do you need? Elliot leaned forward. Information. Every communication with Dale, every child placement, every detail you remember. And then you're going to help us set a trap. Chapter 5, Bait. The trap required precision. Elliot spent 3 days choreographing every element, while Harris built a digital trail that would lure their targets into striking. The key is making them think we're vulnerable, Elliot explained to Autumn. They need to believe we've discovered just enough to be dangerous, but not enough to protect ourselves. Harris created a fake email account in Elliot's name and sent a message to a reporter at the Washington Post, someone known for covering military contractor scandals. The email was deliberately vague. I have information about illegal child experimentation by a DoD contractor called Meridian Solutions. How do I safely provide evidence? They knew Meridian would have alerts on media contacts mentioning their name. Within 6 hours, the surveillance on their house intensified. 2 cars now, rotating every 4 hours. They're worried, Harris noted. Good. Phase 2 involved Violet. She called Dale Montez, her voice shaking with practiced fear. We have a problem. The Roman family found something on the girl. They're asking questions. What kind of something? Dale's voice was sharp. I don't know. The mother called me, said they found a mark on Lily and wanted to know if I knew about it. I played dumb, but Dale, they're suspicious. What if they go to authorities? They won't. We'll handle it. Give me their exact address and routine. Violet provided the information, accurate except for one crucial detail. She told Dale that Autumn took Lily to a playground every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m., a routine that didn't exist. They'll try to grab her in public, Elliot predicted. Safer than a home invasion. Easier to claim it's a welfare check gone wrong. So we'll be ready. Tuesday arrived with cold, clear skies. Elliot had called in every favor from his negotiator days. Harris brought 2 former FBI agents he trusted, Stacy Foster and Marcelo Wu, both of whom had left the Bureau over disagreements with policy. They set up surveillance around Oak Grove Park, concealed in civilian vehicles with high-resolution cameras. Autumn drove to the park with Lily at 2:45 p.m. Elliot followed in a separate car, his stomach tight with controlled fear. This was the moment. If he'd miscalculated, if they'd underestimated Meridian's resources, Lily could be lost. At 3:07 p.m., a white van pulled into the parking lot. Two men emerged, 30s, athletic builds, wearing windbreakers that didn't quite hide their earpieces. Shadowbox contractors, Elliot recognized the type. They approached Autumn and Lily slowly, spreading out to cut off escape routes. One of them pulled out a badge, CPS, almost certainly fake. "Ma'am, I'm Agent Sullivan with Child Protective Services. We need to speak with you about your daughter." Autumn, coached by Elliot, played her role perfectly. "What? Why? What's this about?" "We've received reports of an irregularity in her adoption. We need to take her into protective custody while we investigate." "You're not taking my daughter anywhere." Autumn stepped in front of Lily. The second man moved closer. "Ma'am, don't make this difficult. The child needs to come with us." That's when Elliot emerged from his car, phone raised and recording. "Interesting. What's your badge number, Agent Sullivan?" The men's heads snapped toward him. The one with the fake badge forced a smile. "Sir, this doesn't concern you. I'm her father. It absolutely concerns me. Your badge. Let me see it up close." They recognized the trap. Without another word, both men retreated to the van and drove off. But not before Stacy and Marcelo captured clear photos of their faces and license plate. "Got them," Harris confirmed through Elliot's earpiece. "Plates are registered to Shadowbox, LLC. Those aren't CPS agents. They're mercs." Back home, Elliot reviewed the footage with grim satisfaction. This is evidence of attempted kidnapping by military contractors. But we can't go public yet. We need to connect it directly to Myers and prove the whole operation. "Ow!" Autumn asked, holding Lily close. "By making Myers desperate enough to get personally involved." Elliot pulled up his laptop. Phase 3. We make them think Lily's talking. He drafted another email to the Post reporter, this time attaching a photo of Lily's tattoo and a brief statement. "This is what Meridian Solutions does to children." More evidence to follow. The response was instant and exactly what he'd hoped for. His phone rang within an hour. Unknown number. "Mr. Roman, I think we should talk." The voice was cultured, calm, a man used to control. "Who is this?" "Dr. Christopher Myers. I believe you have something that belongs to me." Elliot's jaw clenched. "I have my daughter. She doesn't belong to anyone but herself." "Your daughter is government property, Mr. Roman. She's part of a classified program, and harboring her is a federal offense. Return her voluntarily, and we'll forget this unfortunate incident. Here's my counteroffer. Disband your child torture program. Turn yourself into the DOJ, and I won't spend the rest of my life making sure you die in prison." Myers laughed, a cold, clinical sound. "You're former law enforcement. Crisis negotiation specialist. Very good record. You should know better than anyone that threatening me is pointless. I operate with full government sanction. You operate with nothing. I operate with evidence. Photos, documents, witness testimony, and a very sympathetic victim who's willing to talk to every news outlet in the country. If you go public, Mr. Roman, you'll destroy more than my program. You'll compromise national security initiatives that keep this country safe. And you'll paint a target on yourself and your wife that no amount of media attention will protect you from. Then I guess we're at an impasse." "Not quite. I'm making one more offer. Meet with me. Face to face. Tomorrow, noon, at the coffee shop on Maple Street. Come alone. Let's discuss this like reasonable men." Elliot pretended to consider. "And if I refuse? Then my next conversation will be with people far less reasonable than me." "Your choice, Mr. Roman. But choose quickly. My patience has limits." The line went dead. Harris immediately objected. "It's a trap. He'll have shooters, extraction teams." "Of course it's a trap, but it's also an opportunity. If Myers shows up personally, we can record him, get him on camera, making threats. That's evidence we can use. Or he just kills you and takes Lily." Elliot smiled. He could try. But I didn't spend 12 years negotiating with killers without learning how to spot an ambush. We'll wire me, have backup positioned, and turn his trap into ours. Autumn grabbed his arm. Oh, this is insane. These people have already killed, which is why we have to end this. As long as Myers is operating, Lily will never be safe. None of the children in his program will be safe. He cupped her face gently. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. But that night, lying in bed, Elliot wasn't sure he believed his own words. Myers was right about one thing. They were operating from a position of weakness. Evidence meant nothing if you didn't survive to present it. He thought about Lily, sleeping down the hall, dreaming of blue rooms and needle marks. He thought about the other children still trapped in Myers' program. And he thought about the 12 years he'd spent talking desperate people out of violent acts. Tomorrow, he'd do the opposite. Tomorrow, he'd talk a monster into making a fatal mistake. Chapter 6. The Devil's Details. The coffee shop on Maple Street was a small, local place. Brick walls, exposed beams, the smell of roasted beans. Elliot arrived 15 minutes early. His shirt concealing a wire connected to a recorder Harris had sewn into his jacket lining. Outside, Stacy and Marcelo sat in separate cars with parabolic microphones and cameras. Christopher Myers arrived exactly at noon, flanked by 2 shadowbox contractors, including one of the men from the park. Myers looked exactly like his photo. Steel gray hair, expensive suit, eyes that calculated worth and threat in equal measure. Mr. Roman. Punctual. I appreciate that. Myers sat across from him, dismissing his guards to a nearby table. No recorder, I trust. Would it matter if I said no? Not particularly. Everything I'm about to tell you is classified above top secret. Recording it is a federal offense. But I suspect you already knew that. Myers ordered a black coffee from the waitress. Let's be frank. You're in over your head. Funny, I was thinking the same about you. I run a program with full DoD authorization and Senate oversight. You're harboring stolen government property. We're not equally positioned here. Elliot leaned back. Stolen property. That's what you call a 4-year-old girl. That's what she is legally. The Shadow Protocol operates under national security directives that supersede standard ethical oversight. The children in the program are being prepared for roles that could save thousands of American lives. Their temporary discomfort is regrettable but necessary. Temporary? You tattooed them like cattle. Identification protocols. Standard operating procedure for assets with classified status. Myers' voice remained calm, clinical. Mr. Roman, I'm not here to debate ethics with you. I'm here to offer you a way out. Return the asset, sign a non-disclosure agreement, and receive compensation. $2 million, tax-free. You and your wife can adopt another child through proper channels. Everyone walks away whole. Except the 20 kids you're experimenting on. Shaping. Not experimenting. And those children have purpose now. Most came from broken homes, abusive situations. We gave them meaning. Elliot felt his anger rising, but kept his voice level. You gave him trauma. Lily has nightmares. She flinches at loud noises. She evaluates every room like a soldier in hostile territory. She's 4. She's exceptional. The youngest to ever complete level 3 protocols. Her retention rate is 97%. Her adaptive response is off the charts. With proper conditioning, she could be ready for field deployment by age 9. Myers leaned forward. I'm offering you a fortune to walk away. Don't be foolish enough to refuse. What happens if I do refuse? Myers' expression didn't change. Then I activate alternative protocols. Your wife has a DUI from college. Dismissed but on record. Easy to suggest substance abuse issues. You have a classified file from your negotiator days. An operation in Syria that went sideways. Details could be leaked suggesting incompetence, instability. Within a week, CPS would have legitimate cause to investigate. Within 2 weeks, Lily would be removed from your home for her own safety. And you'd have no legal recourse because everything would look procedurally perfect. You'd frame us. I'd correct an irregularity. But it doesn't have to come to that. Take the money. Move on with your lives. Let me do my job protecting this country. Elliot studied Myers carefully, The complete lack of remorse, the absolute certainty in his righteousness. This wasn't a man who could be reasoned with. He was a true believer, convinced his cause justified any atrocity. "I have a counteroffer," Elliot said quietly. "You shut down the Shadow Protocol. You release every child in the program to legitimate social services. You turn yourself into the Inspector General. And I don't spend the rest of my life destroying everything you've built." Myers actually smiled. "You think you can threaten me? With what? The tattoo photo? Inadmissible. Could be doctored. The testimony of a 4-year-old? Unreliable. Anything Violet Rich says? The word of a woman I can prove took bribes and falsified adoption records. You have nothing that can touch me, Mr. Roman. I have witnesses to your attempted kidnapping yesterday. You have photos of private security contractors who were attempting to serve legal documents. Hardly kidnapping. And even if it was, they're contractors. Liability falls on Shadowbox, not Meridian, and certainly not me personally." Myers stood, adjusting his cufflinks. "This is your last chance. I'm a patient man, but my superiors are not. Say yes to the money, or say goodbye to your normal life." "I choose option 3. I say goodbye to you." Myers' smile faded. "Then you've made a fatal mistake. Goodbye, Mr. Roman. I'll see you in court, or perhaps somewhere less pleasant." He left with his guards, leaving Elliot alone with cold coffee and racing thoughts. Outside, Harris appeared at Elliot's car window. "Tell me you got something useful." "I got a confession of intent to commit fraud and frame us for child abuse, plus confirmation that he sees children as property." Elliot replayed the recording. "But he's right about one thing. None of this is enough for prosecution. He's too insulated, too protected. So what's the play?" Elliot thought about the conversation, about Myers' confidence, his absolute certainty that he was untouchable. That kind of arrogance came from experience, from never facing real consequences. We make him face consequences, not legal ones. He's too connected for that. Personal ones. We dismantle everything he values until he has nothing left but the choice to surrender or self-destruct. That's not negotiation, Al. That's war. He started it when he tattooed my daughter. Elliot's voice was cold, certain. "I'm just finishing it." Chapter 7. The network burns. War required intelligence, and intelligence required inside access. Elliot spent the next 48 hours building a network of information sources. Former Meridian employees, disgruntled contractors, anyone with grievances against Myers or knowledge of the Shadow Protocol. Harris connected him with Shalia McKay, a former Meridian psychologist who'd left the company 6 months ago. They met in a parking garage, her paranoia evident in the way she checked for surveillance before approaching Elliot's car. "I know what you're trying to do," Shalia said without preamble. "And it's suicide. Myers has protected this program for 7 years. People who threaten to disappear, not violently, just quietly. Careers destroyed, reputations ruined. Then help me make sure that doesn't happen. Tell me about the program's vulnerabilities." The program has no vulnerabilities. It's funded through black budget allocations that no one audits. It operates in a facility that doesn't officially exist. The kids are documented as classified assets, which means standard child protection laws don't apply. There has to be something. Every operation has pressure points. Shalia was quiet for a moment. "There's one thing. The program's continued funding depends on quarterly progress reports to Senator Cannon. If those reports show the program isn't meeting its objectives, the funding gets reviewed. But Myers cooks the books, inflates success rates, hides failures." "What kind of failures?" "Kids who can't handle the conditioning. They call it washout rate. About 30% of children in the program develop severe psychological trauma, PTSD, dissociative disorders, complete breakdowns. Myers buries those cases by transferring the kids to psychiatric facilities under false diagnoses. But records exist. Buried deep, but they exist. Where? Meridian Secure Server, encrypted and firewalled. You need someone with system access to extract them. Elliot's mind raced. How hard would it be to get that access? Impossible. Unless... Shalia pulled out her phone, scrolling through contacts. Sangmoss, former IT admin at Meridian, fired 3 months ago for refusing to delete security footage of a child being physically restrained. He's angry, he's skilled, and he kept his system credentials. 2 days later, Elliot sat in a basement apartment in Arlington with Sang Moss, mid-20s, brilliant and bitter. The walls were covered with monitors displaying code and news feeds about Meridian. "I want to burn them down," Sang said bluntly. "They're doing evil shit and calling it patriotism. Tell me what you need." Access to Myers' files, specifically medical records for children who washed out of the program, and the real quarterly reports, the ones he doesn't show Senator Cannon. Sang's fingers flew across the keyboard. "Give me 12 hours. I'll need to route through proxy servers to avoid detection, but I can get you in." True to his word, by the next morning, Elliot had access to a treasure trove of damning evidence. Medical records showing children as young as 3 undergoing experimental drug trials, psychological evaluations documenting severe trauma, and, most damning, internal emails where Myers discussed acceptable loss rates and necessary casualties in asset development. "This is it," Harris breathed, scanning through the files. "This proves systematic abuse. Even with classified protections, this crosses lines. If we get this to the right people—" "We will," Elliot interrupted. "But not yet. First, we use it to pressure Myers' support network, starting with Senator Cannon." Research revealed that Senator Lemuel Cannon's son, Alfonso Cannon, worked as a senior analyst at Meridian, a clear conflict of interest that neither man had disclosed. Elliot drafted a comprehensive dossier linking the senator's votes on defense appropriations to his son's employment, complete with email evidence of coordination. He sent it to 3 people: a watchdog group focused on congressional ethics, a reporter at ProPublica, and Senator Cannon himself, with a simple note: public disclosure in 72 hours unless the shadow protocol is defunded immediately. The senator's response came within 4 hours, a phone call from an unlisted number. "Mr. Roman, I don't respond well to blackmail." "Then don't think of it as blackmail. Think of it as consequences. You've been protecting a child abuse operation for 7 years. Time to stop. You're meddling in national security matters you don't understand. I understand you're covering for your son's paychecks. I understand children are being tortured. And I understand that if this goes public, your career ends and Alfonso probably faces criminal charges for conspiracy. Your choice, Senator. Silence. Then what do you want?" An amendment to the next offense spending bill eliminating funding for advanced juvenile asset development programs, and your resignation from the Armed Services Committee. Both happen within 2 weeks, or every news outlet in the country gets this file. You're asking me to commit political suicide. I'm giving you the chance to do the right thing. Take it or don't. But either way, the program ends. The call disconnected. That night, Elliot received an unexpected visitor, Dale Montez, showing up at his door without the usual surveillance team. "You're going to get yourself killed," she said without preamble when Elliot opened the door. "Myers is planning something. He's talking to Shadowbox about permanent solutions. Why are you telling me this?" Dale's professional mask cracked. "Because I have limits. I thought we were doing something necessary. Ugly, but necessary. Then I read what you sent, Cannon. Those medical records, the psychological evaluations. I didn't know it was that bad. Myers kept that from me. You trafficked children. Don't pretend you're innocent. I'm not, but I can help you finish this. Give you information, testify if needed. I want out, and I want Myers to pay." Elliot studied her carefully, the body language of someone genuinely terrified, genuinely remorseful, or genuinely skilled at manipulation. "If you're serious, prove it. Where's the Shadow Protocol facility?" Dale pulled out a folded map. "Abandoned military installation in West Virginia, 20 miles outside Charleston. Off the books, owned through a shell company. There are 17 children there right now, plus staff. Myers visits every Monday. Security? Shadowbox contractors, rotating shift of 6. Perimeter sensors, cameras, but it's designed to keep kids in, not intruders out. They never expected anyone to look for it." Elliot took the map. "If this is a setup, it's not. I'm done being complicit in evil. But move fast. Once Myers realizes I've flipped, he'll relocate everything. After she left, Harris voiced the obvious concern. Could be a trap. Could be. But if it's real, we have 72 hours to shut down the program and rescue 17 kids before Myers goes underground. Elliot spread the map on the table. We need a team. People we trust, willing to operate in legal gray areas. I can bring Stacy and Marcelo. Maybe Gilberto Lopez, former Delta, works private security now. Hates contractors who abuse power. Get them. We move in 48 hours. Myers has had control long enough. Chapter 8. Extraction. The abandoned Fort Harrison military installation sat in a valley surrounded by dense forest, exactly where Dale's map indicated. Elliot watched it through binoculars from a ridge a mile away, counting guards, noting patrol patterns. 6 hostiles, rotating every 4 hours. Gilberto Lopez confirmed, his Delta force training evident in his tactical assessment. Predictable routes, overconfident. They're not expecting trouble. Stacy Foster studied the facility's power grid. Single generator backup. Cut the main power, they'll switch to emergency lighting. Gives us maybe 30 seconds of confusion. Enough time to breach the front entrance, Marcelo Wu added. But we need to account for the kids, 17 potential panicked children in a hostile environment. That's where I come in, Autumn said, appearing beside Elliot. He tried to convince her to stay home, but she'd been adamant. Those kids need a woman's face, someone who doesn't look like a soldier. I'm coming. Elliot wanted to argue, but he knew she was right. You stay with Harris in the second vehicle. Once we secure the facility, you help calm the children and coordinate extraction. The operation began at 2 a.m., the darkest part of the night. Elliot, Gilberto, Stacy, and Marcelo approached from 4 different angles, dressed in black tactical gear borrowed from Gilberto's security company. At exactly 2:15 a.m., Sang Moss, operating remotely from Arlington, killed the facility's power. The lights went dark, and Elliot moved. He breached through the east entrance while Gilberto took the west, and Stacy secured the vehicle bay. Marcelo held the perimeter. The interior was exactly as Dale had described. Institutional hallways painted the infamous blue, doors with electronic locks that had defaulted open when the power died. The first guard appeared in the hallway, flashlight sweeping. Elliot moved fast, muscle memory from 100 training scenarios taking over. A quick disarm, a chokehold until the man went limp. Cable ties around wrists and ankles, duct tape over the mouth. Non-lethal but effective. He found the children in the north wing, 3 dormitory rooms, 6 kids, each in small beds. They woke to the chaos with eerie calm, the kind that comes from trauma conditioning. Who are you? A boy of about 7 asked. My name's Elliot. I'm here to take you somewhere safe. All of you. Dr. Myers said people would try to trick us. Said we shouldn't trust strangers. Dr. Myers lied to you about a lot of things. But you don't have to trust me yet. Just follow me for now and decide later whether I'm telling the truth. Autumn appeared with Harris, and her presence changed everything. She knelt among the children, speaking softly, showing photos of Lily playing in their backyard, smiling. This is Lily. She used to be here, but now she's my daughter. She's safe, happy, and loved. I want the same for all of you. One by one, the children followed. They moved through the dark facility like ghosts, years of training making them silent even in crisis. Elliot's team neutralized 5 more guards without firing a shot. Gilberto's Delta training meant they controlled every engagement. The facility was secured in 14 minutes. But as they loaded children into the vehicles, headlights appeared on the access road. 3 cars moving fast. Shadowbox reinforcements, Gilberto assessed. They must have silent alarms we missed. Get the kids out, Elliot ordered. Harris, Autumn, go now. We'll hold them off. Autumn started. Go. They need you more than I do. The vehicles carrying the children and Autumn sped off into the night, while Elliot, Gilberto, Stacy, and Marcelo took defensive positions. The approaching cars stopped 300 yards out, disgorging armed contractors. Then Christopher Myers' voice echoed through a megaphone. Mr. Roman, you're making this worse for yourself. Return the assets and surrender. This is your last warning. Elliot stepped into the open, hands visible but carrying his phone. Actually, Doctor, this is your last warning. Harris just sent our entire evidence package to the Washington Post, the Inspector General's office, and the FBI. Medical records, emails, locations, everything. And right now, 17 children are being delivered to the FBI field office in Charleston. Your program is over. You're bluffing. You wouldn't risk. I'm not bluffing. Check your news alerts. There was silence. Then, faintly, the sound of phones buzzing, multiple alerts hitting simultaneously. The Washington Post had just published a breaking story. DoD contractor accused of operating child experimentation program. Myers' voice when it came back was different, strained, desperate. You don't understand what you've done. The program was necessary. These children were going to save lives. These children were going to be your victims. That stops now. You've made an enemy of powerful people, Mr. Roman. This isn't over. You're right. It's not over until you're in prison. Elliot raised his phone higher. I'm streaming this conversation live. Thousands of people are watching. So go ahead, Doctor. Tell them why torturing 4-year-olds is patriotic. Convince them. The line went dead. The Shadowbox vehicles retreated. Elliot's team held position for another 20 minutes before following. When they reached the FBI field office in Charleston, they found it surrounded by news crews, federal agents, and, most importantly, child welfare specialists ready to care for 17 traumatized children. Autumn ran to Elliot, tears streaming. They're safe. All of them. And Lily. Lily asked if her friends could come stay with us until they find families. Elliot held her tight, feeling the tension of the past weeks finally breaking. We'll figure something out. We'll help every single one of them. But even in victory, he knew the fight wasn't finished. Myers was still free, and powerful men didn't go quietly. Chapter 9, Judgment. The fallout was swift and brutal for Myers and his network. Senator Lemuel Cannon resigned within 48 hours, citing health reasons before the ethics investigation could formally begin. His son Alfonso was arrested on charges of conspiracy to commit fraud and child endangerment. Dale Montez negotiated immunity in exchange for testimony, providing a roadmap of every shell company, every falsified document, every child who'd passed through the Shadow Protocol since its inception. Her cooperation led to 18 additional arrests. Shadowbox LLC dissolved overnight, its leadership vanishing into legal proceedings that would last years. But Christopher Myers remained elusive. The DoD formally denied knowledge of the Shadow Protocol, claiming it was an unauthorized contractor operation. Myers disappeared before federal agents could arrest him, his whereabouts unknown, until Elliot made them known. 3 weeks after the facility raid, Elliot received a burner phone in the mail. No note, just a phone with one number programmed in. He called it Mr. Roman. Myers' voice was tired, defeated. I underestimated you. Where are you? Somewhere you'll never find me. I have resources, connections. I can disappear completely. Then why call? Because I want you to understand. Everything I did was for the greater good. Those children would have become assets that saved thousands of lives. You destroyed something important. I destroyed something evil. There's a difference. History will judge which of us was right. But that's not why I called. I called to tell you this isn't over. My work will continue elsewhere under different names. There are others who believe as I do. You've won this battle, but the war is already over, Elliot interrupted. Harris traced this call. The FBI is surrounding your location right now, and I've been recording this entire conversation, including you admitting the program will continue. That's conspiracy to commit future crimes. Silence. Then Myers laughed, bitter, defeated. Clever. I really did underestimate you. You underestimated what a father will do to protect his daughter. That was your fatal mistake. The line went dead. 20 minutes later, news broke of Myers' arrest in a safe house in Montreal. Canadian authorities had cooperated with the FBI to execute the warrant. The trial took 6 months. Myers' attorneys argued classified protections, national security necessity, and lack of direct oversight. But the evidence was overwhelming. Medical records, testimony from 17 children, emails discussing acceptable loss rates, and Myers' own recorded words admitting intent to continue the program. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. Christopher Myers was sentenced to 47 years in federal prison with no possibility of parole. Dale Montez received 12 years with parole eligibility after 8, her cooperation having earned leniency. Alfonso Cannon got 5 years. Senator Cannon faced no criminal charges, but his political career was permanently destroyed. On the day of Myers' sentencing, Elliot sat in the courtroom with Autumn and Lily, watching as the man who'd seen children as assets was led away in handcuffs. Lily squeezed his hand. "Is it really over?" she whispered. "The bad parts are over. The good parts are just starting." The aftermath took longer to process than the victory itself. 17 children needed families, therapy, and years of healing. Elliot and Autumn couldn't adopt them all, but they became advocates, working with legitimate agencies to ensure each child found safe homes. Lily underwent therapy 3 times a week, slowly processing the trauma of the blue room and learning to be just a kid. She still had nightmares, still sometimes evaluated rooms like a tactician. But she also laughed, played, and asked for a German Shepherd puppy they named Justice. Harris Olson won a Pulitzer for his investigative series on the Shadow Protocol, exposing not just Myers, but the systemic failures that had allowed such a program to exist. His work prompted congressional hearings and reforms in how classified programs were overseen. Violet Rich lost her social work license, but avoided prison, her cooperation and genuine remorse earning probation. She volunteered with foster care advocacy groups, trying to atone. Shalia McKay testified before Congress about the psychological damage inflicted on the children, her expert testimony helping pass new laws protecting minors in any government-adjacent programs. Sang Moss became a cybersecurity consultant, specializing in exposing illegal operations hidden behind encrypted servers. His work led to the exposure of 3 additional programs similar to Shadow Protocol in different agencies. But for Elliot, the real victory was smaller, more personal. 6 months after Myers' sentencing, he sat in his backyard watching Lily play with Justice. She was laughing, genuinely happy, looking every bit the normal 5-year-old she deserved to be. Autumn sat beside him, their hands intertwined. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked. "Everything we went through, the danger?" "Not for a second. We saved her. We saved 17 kids. And we stopped a monster. That's more meaningful than anything else I've ever done." The nightmares are getting less frequent. Her therapist says she's making real progress. She's strong. Stronger than Myers ever gave her credit for. He saw her as an asset to be used. We see her as a person to be loved. That's why we won. Lily ran over, Justice bounding beside her. "Dad, can we go to the park? I want to practice the monkey bars." "Sure thing, kiddo. Go get your shoes." As she ran inside, Autumn leaned against Elliot's shoulder. "You know she calls you Dad now." "Not Elliot. Dad. I noticed. I think that's when you really became her father. Not when we adopted her, but when you fought for her. When you showed her that someone would actually protect her no matter what." Elliot thought about Myers in his prison cell, about the facility in West Virginia now being demolished, about 17 children scattered across the country learning to be children again. He thought about the negotiations he'd conducted in his old life, talking people down from ledges and out of hostage situations. But this, saving Lily, destroying the Shadow Protocol, ensuring no other child would suffer what she'd suffered. This was the most important negotiation of his life. And he'd won it not with words, but with determination, strategy, and the absolute refusal to let evil triumph. "We did good," he said quietly. "We did great," Autumn corrected, "and we're going to keep doing great. For Lily, and for every kid who needs someone to fight for them." Lily emerged with her shoes, Justice's leash in hand. Ready. As they walked to the park, a normal family doing normal things, Elliot felt something he hadn't felt in the long months of fighting. Peace. The war was over. The monsters were caged. And the little girl who'd been marked as property had become his daughter, loved and protected and free. That was victory. That was everything. And there you have it. Another story comes to an end. What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this story, consider joining our community by subscribing. It means the world to us. For more stories like this one, check out the recommended videos on screen. And I'll see you there.